Antenatal Relaxation Class, or ARC. Antenatal Relaxation Class, or ARC, has been designed and delivered by Relaxation Revolution. Birth is not only about making babies, it's about making mothers. Strong, capable, competent mothers who trust themselves and know their inner strengths. Nurturing and bringing new life to this world means going through a profound transformation through which you too are born as a new mother, a new parent. Look at this beautiful image. Imagine lying on this hammock. How would this make you feel? This class aims to have you feel calm and relaxed at will. The objective of the session is to learn and use some simple techniques so that you and your baby both feel calm and positive during and after pregnancy. Also to have a positive childbirth experience. We know that positive experiences of childbirth could have a long-term impact on you, your baby, and your family. Remember, you and your baby are one. Your feelings are transferred to the baby by chemicals called hormones through the placenta. When you feel calm and positive, feeling good hormones including endorphins and oxytocin are released from your brain, and in a matter of seconds they reach your baby through the placenta. From neuroscience research, we know babies' exposure to these feeling good hormones could enhance his or her brain development. We also know exposure to high levels of stress hormones for long periods of time have the opposite effect. This is why it's so important to be aware of our emotions and learn to alter these emotions when needed. So first, let's get a better understanding of how the body works during labor and how our emotions could impact the function of the body during labor. So we learned if Mary for any reason is anxious or fearful, whether this emotion comes from a real danger like a roaring bear or a perceived one like a scary thought or assumption, she will experience a fight or flight response. This means Mary's body very quickly will decide that the legs are the most important part of her body to just let her run away from the danger. So the blood from all the internal organs, including her womb, will be diverted to her legs. We know that the womb, just like any other muscle in the body, can produce lactic acid, especially when it is working hard during labor contractions. However, the blood flow from heart brings loads of oxygen to the muscle of womb and cleanses it from lactic acid. Now, if Mary is in a fight or flight mode, most of her body blood flow has been diverted to her legs, which means less blood flow and oxygen is delivered to the womb. So the lactic acid cannot be effectively washed away from the womb. The buildup of lactic acid in this big muscle means extra pain of labor. This extra pain is known as secondary pain, which is the result of being in a fight or flight mode during labor. The natural or primary pain of labor could be challenging, but Mother Nature doesn't give us anything that we cannot tolerate. However, being in a fight or flight mode during the labor and the subsequent buildup of lactic acid leads to extra pain or secondary pain of labor, which could become unbearable. The The good news is that we have another system in our body called calm and connection system. The activation of this system would reverse the fight or flight response. So if Mary somehow could tap into this system, she could actively slow down her heart rate, reduce her blood pressure, and regulate her temperature. Because activation of this system means expansion of the blood vessels that could work like an efficient cooling system within the body. The system could also store energy, reduce stress hormones such as adrenaline, and release loads of our natural pain relief hormones, known as endorphins. It could also provide fuel and remove waste materials such as lactic acid from the skin, digestive system, and the womb. That is why it's so important to know this invaluable inner resource and become a pro at working with it.
So far, we have learned about fight and flight system as well as calm and connection system. Fight and flight system is responsible for fight and flight response, whereas the calm and connection system generates a relaxation response. This is a response where the body metabolism, breathing rate, heart rate, and even brain activity is reduced.
I'm just remembering that the activation of calm and connection system would expand the blood vessels, taking oxygen to the womb, and would flush out lactic acid, which would reduce the labor pain. So to sum up, being in a fight or flight mode during labor means that blood flow would take the oxygen to the legs. That means the muscle of womb is deprived from oxygen, which would result in collection of lactic acid, causing extra pain of labor. This extra pain or secondary pain would even further stimulate the fight and flight response. And this vicious circle could go on and on and on and cause severe pain of labor and potentially negative experiences. On the other hand, if somehow Mary could tap into her calm and connection system and get herself into a relaxed state, the blood flow would take loads of oxygen to the womb and would cleanse the womb from lactic acid. This would reduce the labor pain, and as a result, she could relax even better. Remember, being in a calm state also means the release of endorphins or our natural pain reliefs from the brain. The good news is that the choice is yours. You can choose to either experience extra pain of labor by getting stuck into a fair tension pain cycle, or reduce the pain by employing relaxation techniques and strategies and feeling more relaxed. In this part, we are going to discuss the role of hormones or the cocktail of hormones in labor. You see, if you're going to make a refreshing cocktail, you need to add the exact amount of each ingredient to achieve good results. Similarly, in labor, many chemicals must work together in harmony to make the miracle of birth happen. The three main ingredients are oxytocin, or the hormone of love and healing, or the hormone of contractions; endorphins, hormone of euphoria, pleasure, and our natural pain relief; and adrenaline, the hormone of excitement or stress. Yes, that's correct. A dash of adrenaline is necessary for the smooth progress of labor. However, having too much adrenaline can ruin your cocktail and disturb the smooth progress of labor. From what we've learned so far, we know getting oneself in a calm and relaxed state would minimize the adrenaline levels and would release large amounts of endorphins from the stem of the brain. This combination seems to be necessary for maximizing the function of oxytocin, or the hormone that causes the womb contractions and progress of labor. How often do we see a cat in labor? In fact, we rarely see mammals in labor because they usually go and hide in a dark and quiet place where they feel safe. In fact, by hiding, the cat is trying to get herself into a relaxed state, reduce her adrenaline levels to allow the miracle of birth to happen. If the cat is disturbed, for example by bright lights, or feeling unsafe, the labor stops or is slowed down. Remember, humans are mammals too. The hormones we have discussed so far are common to all mammals and originate in our mammalian brain, or the stem of our brain. For birth to proceed optimally, this part of the brain must take over the thinking brain. In fact, the activity of the thinking brain interferes with these processes. This means too much mind activity in labor could disturb the labor. Our learning so far would lead us to a golden question of how can I tap onto the stem of my brain to activate calm and connection system and release endorphins and oxytocin? The answer is by learning to quieten the thinking brain. Practice of relaxation exercises and strategies would quieten the active brain, would activate the calm and connection system and cause the release of these beautiful hormones during labor.